Hello everyone. From today, we'll start learning SAP Mobile Development. Today I will give you an overview about SAP, and also we will develop the first mobile application for the SAP system. Before that, please set up the development machines according to the developer guide I uploaded to eCollege. So the first question is, what is SAP? We have been hearing this concept a lot of times. What is it? Simply speaking, SAP is a computer system that controls and manages the entire resources in a company, from manufacturing, financial assets, accounting information, human resources, logistics management, you name it. Every resource that a company has. The goal of SAP, or the function of SAP, is to perform the enterprise resource planning activities for the senior managers. So here we meet another new concept, enterprise resource planning activities. What is an enterprise resource planning activity, or a ERP? When you just start a new business, it's always easy for you to manage the company. As an entrepreneur, you know what you have and what you want to produce, what is your business goal. For instance, you start a new mobile application development studio. You want to develop some mobile game, and you are the sole developer, you are the manager, you are the accountant. Everything will go through your hands. You know how much money you have and how much you can spend, how much profit you can get, how much sales revenue you can get. But when your business grows bigger, it's not so easy to manage a large company. Let's say you hired 100 developers to develop 10 games now. When you want to decide which game you should invest the most resources, you have to consider a lot of factors. For instance, the market future for each game, the human resource cost for developing each game, the marketing cost for each game. At this moment, you cannot handle all the factors. You need a computer system that can help you make the decision to allocate the best resources that your company has to the most promising, most profitable product. And this process is called an enterprise resource planning process. By using ERP, you want to give the best resource to the most successful product or project in your company. And the computer system that can help you perform the ERP activities is SAP that we talk about in this class. Remember, both the SAP and the ERP's goal is to help the manager to make better decisions, to make the managers become smarter when they make decisions. Now I want to give you an overview about the history of SAP. SAP is an acronym of Systems, Applications, and Products. It is the name for the ERP software. It is also the name for the software company. The SAP company was founded by 5 former IBM employees in 1972 in Germany. In the beginning, the goal of this company was to provide the financial data analysis service to companies. The first product from a SAP company is called a real-time financial system. Here we have a new concept called real-time. What is real-time? As you know, for financial professionals, time is money. So they want the most recent, they want the most relevant information before they make the decision to invest in stocks or bonds or other financial products. This is the goal for the first product from SAP company. They want to provide the most recent information or most relevant information to the financial professionals. In the history of SAP company, you will see SAP R1, R2, and R3. R in these products represent real time. So this is the goal of the initial SAP products. They want to provide the most recent, most relevant information to financial professionals. After the year of 2000, SAP expanded its business to the ERP field. They changed the product name from the real-time R1 to SAP ERP. It's not only a name change. SAP also added several functions in the system. For instance, they added the customer relation management system into the SAP software. As we all know, in a company, we could have a lot of departments. So SAP ERP designed every functional software for each department in a company. The software for each department is called a module. So that's why you will hear people talk about SAP modules. For instance, the finance accounting module, FICO module, the logistics module, the human resource module, and so on and so forth. Remember, a module is a software that is designed specifically for a functional department in a company. Now let's talk about the technology architecture of SAP. In a SAP system, we use the Tritium Framework. What is a Tritium Framework? As you can see, as this picture shows, we have a web server in the middle between the users and applications. The central server is called a web server. The function of web server is to receive the user's request. After the web server gets the request, the web server will analyze what kind of request it is. Is the user requesting information from an accounting module or from manufacturing module? After that, the web server will send the request to the corresponding application server. What is the benefit of using the Tritium framework in an SAP system? First of all, we split the workload on the web server into different application servers. So each server will work more efficiently. Secondly, which is more important, when a company keeps growing, the company will add more and more departments. Every time when you change the system, if you put all the application on one server, when you change the web server, you could interrupt the user's normal use. But by using the Tritium framework, it's very easy for you to add a new application in the system without interrupting the user's normal use of other applications. Let's say now we have a logistics department. We want to create a database to manage the supply chain information. By using the Tritium framework, we can easily add the logistic data application server into the system. When we update the SAP system or the information system in the company, the users can still access to the accounting information system or manufacturing information system. And also we can add the logistic database in the system without interrupting the user's use. So these are the benefits of using the Tritium framework. Why do we need a mobile application for the SAP system? In my opinion, access is the reason. What do I mean by access? We want to make sure that we put all the data processing analysis work to the SAP web server or data application server. We want to develop some apps to provide the user interfaces for the users on their mobile devices, to enable them to request the information from the web server, to give the users a way of inputting data into the web server or the central database. Since the theme of SAP mobile development is to access to databases online, when we develop an app for SAP, do we need to go through the pains of programming CQ language as we had in the Android development? Fortunately, no. In SAP, we use something called a mobile business object to access to the online databases. What is a mobile business object? I believe you will get very familiar to this concept when we develop more mobile applications for SAP. Here, let me give you an overview about the concept MBO. A MBO is a package of information obtained from the online databases. The databases could be SAP central databases, or could be some other online databases from the government, from the third-party websites, and so on and so forth. What are the information included in an MBO? Three very important parts. The first one is the metadata that describes the columns of the data tables that we bring into the mobile application project. The column names, what is the data type of the values in each column, and so on and so forth. The second part is the CQ query statement that can help us as developers to find the information in a mobile application. In Android development, do you remember when we create the My Notes application? When we want to show the information from the database in the list view, we want to create the select query. But in SAP Mobile, we don't need to remember how to use the CQ query statements. When we bring in the data tables from an online resource to the mobile project, the mobile business object will create the CQ statements for us. This is very nice because we don't need to remember how to use CQ select, update, insert into, or delete statements, but we can still operate the data tables by using the CQ statements created by mobile business object. The third part is the relationship between two tables or among several tables. When we talk about the entity relational database, we said two tables or several tables could have some logic connections. We use the foreign keys to connect these tables. When we download two or more tables from an online resource, if there are some relationships existing between two tables or among several tables, the mobile business object will also remember these relationships. I think it is a good time for me to show you some example. In this lecture, I want to create an app. This app has basically three screens. The first screen is the start screen. I want to show the title or the name of this app. When the user clicks on employees, if the user clicks on employees on the start screen, the user will see a list of employees in the company. If the user clicks on each employee, the user should also be able to see the details of each employee. How can we use SAP SDK to develop an app to pull data from the online resource and find the information about the employees. Now let me show you the process. Now let's develop the first app for SAP system. Double-click on the SAP Mobile Workspace icon on the desktop to launch the SAP SDK. And now you can see SAP SDK asks us, where do we want to save the file? Very similar to the Android SDK, right? So you just click the browse to find a place to save your file, and then click OK. Or you can keep the current directory, and then click OK. This is the interface for SAP SDK. On the right, you will see the palette option. All the user interface design controls are stored in the palette option, palette panel. And then in the upper left corner, you will get the Workspace Navigator. Very similar to Android SDK, the Workspace Navigator shows you a list of all available app projects. In the lower left corner, we will get the Enterprise Explorer. This is a very important panel because it shows you several connections. As I showed you in the developer guide on eCollege, you need to set up the mobile server, SAP server, and then the database connections. The major clients for SAP mobile apps are usually companies. One requirement for enterprise mobile applications is that we want to develop the app fast. Therefore, when we want to use the database in a mobile app, we usually don't develop the app on the mobile phones. We want to connect to the online database and then download the data or information from the online databases. So the function of data connections or database connections is to tell your app from where you can get the data, from which online databases you can pull the information. As I mentioned just now, a SAP system adopts the Tritium Framework as a technology architecture. All the information is stored on the server side. Therefore, if you want to develop an app that uses information from the SAP central database, you want to make the connection between the mobile app and the SAP server. So you want to set up the SAP server connection under the SAP server option. Please refer to the developer guide to find the connection for this class. After you develop the app, you want to publish it somewhere. If you develop an app for the Android system, you can publish it on the Google Play Store. If you develop an app for Apple iPhones, iPads, and other iDevices, you can publish the app through Apple App Store. What about SAP mobile application? How can you publish the SAP mobile application? You need to set up the mobile server so that you know where to publish the mobile app. Please refer to the developer guide to find out where you can publish the mobile app in this class. After the setup, we are ready to create some app. In the first case, we want to show the employees' information on the mobile devices. We want to connect to an online database and pull information from the online data table. If you connect successfully, double-click on Database Connections in the Enterprise Explorer. You can see My Sample Database. Double-click on My Sample Database. You will see the Sample DB. This is the database I set up online. Double-click on it. You will see a lot of properties about this database. We want to know data tables in this database. double click on tables. You should see a lot of data tables. You can also see an employee table. If you are curious what the employee table looks like, you can right click on employee. Remember, right click on it, and then choose edit data. And then click OK. Now you will see all the information show up in the employee data table. It records the employee ID. Probably this will be the primary key for this table, right? Because each ID can recognize a unique employee. It also shows the manager ID, the employee's first name, last name, department ID, the contact information, and so on and so forth. But we have a column shows all the null values, right? As I mentioned in the SQL database lecture, null represents empty. There's nothing in this column, so we use a null value, NULL, to represent an empty cell or an empty column. Since it's empty, on the mobile device, we don't need to show this column. So remember, when we create the mobile app, we want to unselect this termination underscore data date column. Remember, we want to uncheck this column. All other columns have values, so we want to show these values to the mobile users. This is what the data table looks like. Now close this data table. We want to create our app. Click on File, and then choose New, and choose Mobile Application Project. Give it a name, some meaningful name that you can remember. For instance, Employees App. And then click Finish. Now you will see a blank page in the center. This is the workspace. Because we want to connect to a database, we want to put information from a data table called employee online. So the first step is to create the connection. Now drag the employee table in the lower left corner. Drag it to the workspace and uncheck Create, uncheck Update, uncheck Delete. We only want to show information, right? So uncheck these three options and then click OK. Now, as you can see, we have a list of columns from the employee table show up in the workspace. We can say this is a table. We can say this is a list of columns. But we want to give it a more meaningful name in the SAP mobile development. We call this business object. Particularly, we call this mobile business object. It is a package of information. It can help us to make the connection, pull information from the online database, and then show them on the user's mobile devices. So this is a mobile business object. It is a package of employees' information. Now click Properties and click Attributes. Now you can see all the metadata about the employee data table we just pulled back from the online database. We don't want to show any null from the termination date column, right? So scroll down the attributes, find the termination date, select it, and then go to the top, and then choose Delete. Now as you can see, the termination date is removed from the list of the employee table. or from the employee mobile business object. We downloaded this table from the online database and then changed it to the mobile business object. Next, we want to publish it to all mobile users. How can we publish it? Right-click on the blank workspace. Remember, right-click on it. And then select Deploy Project. Choose the Update option, and then click Next. Click Next again. Click Next. Now you will see the mobile server connection that you created. Select it, and then choose C305 as the domain name. And then select Admin as the security configuration. On my computer, you will see a refresh button. But if you see a connect button on your computer, click on the connect button. And then choose the C305 as the domain name, admin as the security configuration. Click Next. Click Next again. Now you will see the sample database connection. Click on the cell next to it, and then you will see a little triangle. Click on this triangle. You have two options. One is the database connection you created. Another one is given by SAP Mobile SDK. Choose the one that is given by the SDK, which is the C-based sample database. And then click Next. Click Finish to publish this database. Now you can see the data table is being uploaded to the mobile server. So in the future, after you create the mobile app and the user downloads the app will know it should go to the mobile server to find the employee table, connect with it, and then put information from the employee table on the mobile server. Click OK in the success window. Now we publish the information to the mobile users. We are ready to create the user interface part for the mobile application. Choose File and then click New. Under New, choose Hybrid App Designer and then give it a name. Let's call this My First App. Keep the .xbw extension name. And then select the project where you want to save this mobile application. My project name is Employee App, so select the Employee App and then click Next. Check the box before the Can Be Started on Demand from the Client option, and then click Finish. Now you will see a Hybrid App Designer window show up in the SDK. This window shows you the process of create an app. Click Start. Now you will see a box with a blue title, Start. This will be the first page that the user can see. We really want to add some introduction about this app or some description about this app on the Start page. So double click on the Start page. You will see the user interface design window. Very similar to Android development, right? So let's add some information about our app on the Start window. Now let's go to the palette window. Click HTML view once, and then go to Start window. You will see a plus sign. Now click the Start window once. Now you drag the HTML view control to the Start window. You can start editing some information on the Start window. Keep the HTML view control selected. Click Properties, and then click General. Under General, you will find a button called New Key. A key in the SAP Mobile development is equal to an ID in the Android mobile development. Do you remember when we create a button or a text view in an Android app? I want to give it an ID right away. Similar to Android development, we want to give a key to every control in the window. We just created a HTML view control, so we want to give it a key. So in the future, if we want to find this view, or we want to edit some information on this view, we can find it through the key. Click on New Key button, and then you can give any meaningful name to this key. I want to name mine as Start HTML View Key. As you can see in the key name, I don't use any spaces. So you can give any meaningful name to a key, as long as you don't use spaces between words. Keep the string type and then click OK. You can also see a default value option. In this box, you can type in some information to describe the app. Since this is a HTML view control, you can use HTML language to make the text information look nicer. You can add some HTML tag to modify the font size, the font color, and so on and so forth. Here, let's just use some plain text. Let's type some information to describe the app. How about the employee information app? Save the project. When the user downloads your app in the future, on the start window, they will say employee information app we typed here. We completed the start window design, but the user cannot go to the next screen because there is no button or anything on the start window except for employee information app text. So we want to create some control, such as a button on the start window, so that the user can access to the employee list in the next screen. We need to work on the menu option, the blue area in the workspace. We want to add some controls in the menu option. Go to Palette option. Under this window, click Menu Item once, and then go back to Menu, the blue area in the workspace. Click on the Menu option. Type in Employees. In the future, the user will see an Employees button on their start window. If the user is using a mobile phone, an iPhone or an Android phone, the screen is very small, so they need to click on the menu button on their mobile device, and then the employee button will also pop up. Press Enter on your keyboard, and then select Properties. Click on Properties tab. Click General. You want to give an ID to this new button. Find the key option, and then give a meaningful name to this new button. Let's call this Employee List button. And then scroll down the General window. Find the Type option. Here you need to choose Online Request. The function of this button is to show the employee list from the employee table you just uploaded to the mobile server to the user. So we want to request the information from the online table employee. And then click Search. In the name option, type in employee. This is the mobile business object we just uploaded to the mobile server, right? So type in employee here and then click search. Now you will find the mobile business object on the mobile server. Select employee, click on employee, and then click OK. Now in the general window, find the Invoke Object Query option. Make sure the Employees button is still selected. Click on Properties and then click on General. Scroll down this window to find Invoke Object Query. Select this option and choose Find All from the drop-down list. Choose Find All. And then uncheck the box before Generate Old Value Keys. And then save the project. This is a very important step. Make sure you choose the Invoke Object Query as Find All. Basically, we finished the Start Window design. At this moment, we have to do another very important work. We want to make the connection between the Start Window and the mobile server. Click on the Flow Design window, and then you will see the Start Window is selected. Now you want to click on the blank area in the workspace to unselect the Start Window, and then choose the Properties tab. Now you will see a little triangle on the left side, right? A little triangle. You can scroll down and scroll up the Properties options. Scroll down the Properties window and find the Authentication option. Select this one and then click the scroll bar on the right to scroll it down. And find the mobile server domain. Make sure the C305 is in the mobile server domain option. If you don't have the C305, type in C305. And the C should be in uppercase. This is our mobile server where we publish the database or mobile app, right? So make sure the Start Window knows it should go to C305. And then save the project. Now we got the Start Window. We want to show the employees list once the user click on the button on the Start Window. Click the little triangle next to the project name on the Workspace Navigator panel. Click on it, and then you should be able to see a mobile business object. Click the little triangle, you will find the employee table. We just deployed the employee mobile business object on the mobile server, right? So you will see the employee business object. Press the employee business object, hold it, and then drag it to the workspace. Now you will see two new options. One is employee detail. Another one is employee. We upload the employee business object to the mobile server. And then now we want to create the screen for the mobile application. So we just drag the employee business object from the project list to the workspace. We also want to tell the Start Window and Employee window. Once the user click on the Employee button on the Start Window, the user should be able to see the employee list, right? So click on Start Window. Make sure the Start Window is selected in the Flow Design window. And then click Screen Design. Here, go to the blue area, click Employee. Make sure the Employee button is selected, and then click Properties. Under Properties, you want to select the Success or Error option. Click on it, and then find the Success Screen option. Scroll it down and then find the little triangle. Click on it. You should be able to say Employee Detail, these two new options. Click on Employee, and then save the project. Now click on the Flow Design window. You will see a line connect the Start window and the Employee window. That means if the employee table is available online, and also the user click on the employee button, the user should be able to see the employee list in the next screen. Now let's work on the employee list window. In the Flow Design window, select Employee, and then click Screen Design. Now you will see the Employee List window. You will see a list view show up on the Employee window. In the list view, it will show the employee's ID, manager ID, employee's first name, last name, and a mailing address, and other contact information. Anything from the online employee data table will show in the employee list. Actually, for the employee list window, we don't need all the information, right? We just want to show probably the employee's ID, first name and last name. So we want to modify the cells in the list view. By the way, as you can see, when we develop the app for SAP Mobile, we don't need to program the list view with the array adapter or the cursor adapter. The SAP SDK will automatically allocate information from a data table into a list view. This saves a lot of time for us, right? In the Screen Design window, make sure the list view is still selected. Click Properties. Choose General option, and then check the box before Show Header. Next, you want to click Cell. The cell list shows all available information in the list view. Select cell line 1. Press and hold the Shift key on your keyboard. Scroll down the list of cells. Select cell line 18. Make sure cell line 1 to line 18 are selected, and then click Delete button. Click Yes to confirm. Now select cell line 0, and then scroll down. You will find a key, Employee ID key. This means in this cell we want to show Employee ID. Select the Employee EMPID key, and then click Edit. Make sure the Employee EMPID attribute key is selected in the Key option, and then change the width from 100 to 20. And then change the title option from EMP_ID to uppercase ID. This is the title role that the user will see. So when the user downloads the app, they will say, for all IDs, the title in the column is ID in uppercases. And then click OK. Next, click Add. Besides the employee ID, we will also show the employee's first name and last name in the title row. In the Key option, click on the little triangle, and then select the EMP FNAME attribute key. change the width from 80 to, let's say, 30. And then change the title row to first name. Then in the app, the user will see first name as the second column title. Click OK. Click Add again. And then under the key option, choose EMP L name attribute key. This means we also want to show the employee's last name. Change the field width from 50 to 30. And then give it a title. Let's call it last name title. And then click OK. Now save the project. Switch back to the flow design window. Basically, we finished the whole project. Now we can deploy the project to the mobile server. We can publish it to all mobile users. Right-click on the blank workspace. Remember, right-click on it. And then choose Generate Hybrid App. Click on Generate Hybrid App. And then in this new window, make sure you have the right mobile server connected. Select Deployed to a mobile server as a new package. Check the box before Deployed to a mobile server as a new package. Check the box before Assign Hybrid App to Users. Check it. And then click on the little triangle. Find your username. Usually it will start from S305. And then I give you every one of you a unique ID. It could be 01, 02, 10. Find it in the user's guide. If you cannot find the user in the drop-down list, click on Get Users. And then the SAP Mobile SDK will connect to the mobile server and find all users for you. Click the little triangle and then find your user ID from the drop-down list. And then click Finish to publish the app. As you can see, the app is being uploaded to mobile server. If you publish the app successfully, under the Flow Design window, you can find the Console tab. The tab will show you the process is finished. Now you can test the app on the mobile devices. In the developer guide, I ask you to download an app called CBase Hybrid App Web Container. What does the hybrid app mean? In fact, all the SAP mobile applications are implemented in the CBase Web Container. They are not running on your mobile device directly. They are running on the app called the CBase Hybrid App Web Container. SAP has developed the container for iOS system, for Android system, and other mobile devices. So by doing this, you don't have the constraint to run the app for specific operating system. Once you develop an app for SAP, when the user downloads the CBase Hybrid App Web Container, they can run your app on any device. You could have probably heard a term called a BYOD policy, bring your own device policy. In a large company, you could have some users who are using Apple iOS devices, some other users who are using Android devices, or even some other users who are using BlackBerry or Windows phones. For this kind of company, if you develop an app that can perform the same function for each operating system, it will take a very long time for you to complete the project. But by using the hybrid container, you only need to develop the app once, and then the app can be run on any web container that is designed for a specific operating system. So for us, for the developer, it saves a lot of time to develop the app. We only need to develop once, but the app can be run on any mobile devices. This is the nice thing of the hybrid apps. In this lecture, we talk about several new concepts. For instance, the mobile business object concept, the SAP Mobile SDK user interfaces, and the process of developing SAP mobile application. And lastly, we talk about the hybrid app and what is the benefit of using the hybrid app container. Please try out this project I showed you in the lecture. It shows you the major process of developing an app for SAP Mobile. Please try it out to get a sense about mobile application in SAP system. Next lecture, we'll talk about more advanced functions. For instance, how the user can input data through SAP Mobile. This concludes today's lecture. I will see you soon in the next one.